This regular meeting of the Beverly Hills Board of Education is called together in open session. For our flag salute is student representative from El Rodeo, Eli Raymer here. Would you kindly lead us in the Pledge to Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have an approval of the agenda, please? A motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Mrs. Hacker. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Margot. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Dr. Brady, is there a report of closed session action?
No, there was no action taken in closed session.
Thank you. This is the agenda hearing period for public comment. We have received one request, and it is from our esteemed Kbev staff member, Noah, student staff member.
Hello, everyone. I'm Noah Donish. Just wanted to give a quick update. This year, Kbev and ASB have worked together to start a new program called the Norman Update. What the Norman Update is every week we do a about 2-minute video that gives an update as to what's coming in the next week of Beverly Hills High School. And we've been doing it for about 7 weeks now. It's really successful, and it shows in period 1 every Monday in the classes, so they can kind of get an idea of what's happening. If anyone wants to watch it, they can go on Kbev's YouTube or on normanupdate.com, and they can check it out. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Noah. Are there any other requests to be heard? Hearing none, the agenda hearing period is closed, and we are at item 8 on our agenda, Spotlight on Students. Laura Skirdy, would you kindly take over?
Good evening, board, and hello, everyone. I'm Laura Skirdy, the Director of Communications for the district. I have to say, to Noah's comments, the Norman Update is my must-see TV on Monday mornings. I'll just start including that link in your board connection because they do a fantastic job, and it's a great synopsis of what's going on in the school and great energy as well. I am so pleased to be here tonight to introduce a new segment that we're going to be featuring at each and every board meeting from here on out under the direction of Dr. Brady. Great concept, and we're calling it the Spotlight on Students. The thought being that students, teachers, our schools should be at the focus of all the work we do here at the district, and it's such a great time to celebrate the activities, the accomplishments, just the special things that are going on every day in each of our schools. A lot of us know about that, but we thought it would be great to bring it to you, bring it to the people in this room, bring it to our Kbev audience and the greater community so that everyone can appreciate that. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce our El Rodeo School Principal, Kevin Allen, with our first Spotlight on Students.
Thank you and good evening. I am so pleased to be here to introduce the El Rodeo Robotics team. And so while they're coming up and getting themselves ready behind me, and they will be presenting, just a little bit of history of how this came about. The year before last, our Science Olympiad sponsor, Ms. Brizuela, came to me and she said, I'd like to do something a little different next year and not have Science Olympiad. We'd really like to go a little different direction and have a robotics team. And so we talked about it for a while, and we really felt like it did 2 really important things. The first thing it did is it really got our kids involved in coding and robotics building. And the second thing it did is supported the vertical alignment with the high school. Because once these kids matriculate and come up to the high school, there is an active robotics team right here at the high school, and we wanted our kids to just slip right into that and have that experience on the ground. So we started a competitive robotics team, and I am going to turn the floor over to Ms. Brizuela and our robotics superstars.
Come on up, team. Come on up, team. Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Brizuela. I'm the El Rodeo robotics coach. And last year was the first year that we had the robotics team, as you know. And it was also the first time that we went to competition and competed against a bunch of teams across all over California. And so I brought with me today a part of the team that would like to talk to you about what they did and what we're currently doing for this year's competition. Let me introduce you to them. So here we have our chief engineer, Eli Raymer. We have Georgia Evanson. We have Bianwi Fomukan. We have Alex Austin, who is our assistant chief engineer. And we have Karma Kulo.
Last year, we competed in multiple competitions just to get the gist of what the robotics competition scene is all about.
When we were at competition, we competed against teams all over Southern California. So we separated ourselves into 3 different groups. One group to sort of check their rankings and see which ranking we were in and our rivals were in. We separated into a build team, which would attend to our robots' needs, and a drive team. Although we were inexperienced at the time, we placed 20th out of 40th place, and we did get the judges award for
Yeah, so the Judges Award is for perseverance and sportsmanship. And also, as we placed 20th out of 40, we also made it to the semifinals.
That's great.
Last year's competition was called Starstruck, where we had to get foam stars from one side of the fenced field to the other, whether that be throwing them over or pushing them under.
This is our bot, which we lovingly named Harpoon. It uses a mechanism to push stars under the fence. It would normally, it would let go, and then a star such as this would be pushed under a fence. It would gain points.
Currently, we have split into 2 teams that are each building their own robots for competition. Every Thursday, we meet in our robotics lab to work diligently toward our November deadline. This year's competition is called In the Zone, where we have to stack cones and move the stacks into goal zones.
So thanks for having us tonight. Do you have any questions? Sure. Yeah. A million.
Go ahead.
What did you have a question? What was the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. A million plus a million. Oh. Any other questions?
Yeah. Could I have an answer for that? Because, a million, I don't know. But could I, first of all, I think this is a really incredible program. And what I have to say is that at the high school, the robotics team is probably one of our biggest extracurriculars and definitely our biggest STEM-related one. So I really applaud you guys for taking that initiative. I've seen so many of the robots and the programs that they're working on there, and so this is actually really similar, and it's cool to get that intro now. So yeah, I just wanted to applaud you guys for that.
Thank you very much.
Great work. How many of you want to go on to the high school robotics team? All the hands up. Is this your complete team, or do you have other members?
We have a lot of them.
Good to hear.
I wanted to say that this year we have 20 students. And
Wonderful.
We're at 2 teams this year because the program has grown.
Oh, phenomenal. That is great. And if I may, how many young ladies do you have on the robotics team?
I have one more.
One more. 2 more. Okay. All right, so you got to tell your friends to join the robotics team and tell them how much fun it is. I'm talking to young ladies, because it's so important not only for the young men to be involved in science, but to get the young ladies into science as well. So you should tell your friends how much fun you have, how challenging it is, and how rewarding it is. Right. So keep up the good work. It's good to see you here.
Just going to add really quick. Much like Mr. Artel just said, this is something we need to start doing more of in our school district, is these types of programs. Our students are ready for these types of programs, and it certainly puts you in a better position when you do work with the high school. This is like a feeder type program, and this is something that we've talked about, whether it's academically, athletically, socially, these are the types of things as a school district, providing additional opportunities like this, we're really supportive of. So thank you for leading the way in this area.
I just want to say I think it's fantastic that you're all here. I echo the same sentiments that Mr. Goldstein shared. And I just wanted to say to Mrs. Brizuelo, I think I pronounced that correctly, thank you for taking this on. This probably could not happen without you, I'm sure. And it takes a lot of leadership, a lot of time, and a lot of support to want to do this. And so it's incredible what you're doing, and the impact that you're having on the lives of these children, I'm sure, cannot be counted. And for the children, or for the students, I should say, I think it's incredible also that you're going to transition from El Rodeo straight into the high school, knowing exactly what you're passionate about. I think it makes it easier, and then it distinguishes yourself so easily from your other students and from other students. And so, just congratulations. Just keep up the good work. I think it's great. And your parents, congratulations to all of you for supporting them as well.
Thank you.
I'm certain my 8th grader was going to tell me he wants to transfer now to El Rodeo because he loves all of this. This is amazing. Thank you.
Can I ask what the
Any other
new bot is that we're going to be cheering for in November?
Oh, we have two.
No.
Okay. Oh, okay, all right. I was just curious. I wanted to see who Harpoon's new friends were going to be.
And if you could let us know when your competitions are going to be, we'd love to come and support you. That'd be great.
I would like to say, just in closing that, thank you to the Education Foundation as well, because they've been incredibly supportive of this program, and they really have, they've kind of paid for our sponsorships and things. So I want to say a huge thank you to our Education Foundation, and then also to our PTA, who's actually taken care of the supplies and materials. So Ed Foundation took care of the people, and this PTA took care of all the materials and supplies, and that's kind of what it's supposed to be, hand-in-hand support to make it happen for kids. So I do want to say a huge thank you to those two organizations.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming here tonight and sharing with us. And I want to encourage you to keep it up, and congratulations. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
We're at item 9, the consent calendar. May I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I will second that.
Motion by Mr. Margot, second by Mrs. Hacker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar is approved. And we are at reports. Superintendent Brady?
Thank you. So we had our first meeting of our Future Focused Schools team, and it was a great success. The first meeting was an opportunity for us to take a tour of our K-8 buildings, our TK through 8 buildings. So we traveled first to El Rodeo, to Hawthorne, to Horace Mann, and then to Beverly Vista. And there was an outcome that we didn't foresee in a positive way, and that was watching people come together without having any discussions about what the charge is, just walking through our buildings and talking about programs and talking about some of them, their experiences in some of the buildings. We've got some tough conversations that are going to be coming up, and we're approaching this with a very open mind without a plan in place. And so it was kind of an unintended reward for us that we were able to see all of us getting onto one bus, traveling together, and really getting to know one another before the conversation started. And it's not something that we planned for, but I think that is, at least for us, a really good indication that people have taken time to get to know each other, and it's going to be the relationships and that openness that we've already created in a more social environment with the tours. So that was very successful. We made it back in time to attend the college fair at the high school. Miss Rowley and Miss Renston did a fantastic job putting that together. That was really something to see and be part of. And then also, This week, we're attending the Black and White Gala with the police department, so we're doing that tomorrow night. We're very excited about that. And it's been a very successful week. We also would like to wish happy birthday to Mr. Luke Pavoni today.
Oh, happy birthday.
And tomorrow, Latanya Kirk Carter.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to both of you. Okay. Report from Mr. Artel.
Yeah. So I just wanted to expand a little bit upon what Noah said. It's been really exciting this year for ASB to work with Kbev. And in the past, one thing that ASB has identified as something that we could improve in this school is the communication between the students and the staff in the district. And many students are unaware of what's going on, not just at the district level in terms of construction or budgets or things like that, but also in terms of events that are going on the next day or that week. And so what we've tried to focus on is getting students aware of upcoming events like homecoming, which I actually wanted to discuss. So our homecoming game is going to be next Friday, October 20th, against the high school, which is our big rival. And so for the week leading up to that, we've planned a number of events. The Monday we have a teacher karaoke, it's always fun. And that day we have a tailgate, which we've coordinated with food trucks, different things from 4 to 6:30 before the game at 7. And then another thing that we wanted to focus on this year is not only is October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but October 20th, which is the day of the football game, is Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And so we really wanted to focus on raising awareness and funds during this week because it's a really great opportunity when spirit is generally higher, where we can encourage students to be aware and be mindful of what's around them and to help contribute in a positive way. And so what we've done is we've worked with the football team to have pink gear and pink clothes and pink signs all around the football game and the tailgate. And then the week following that, on the Monday and the Wednesday, we're going to have Spirit Days, where we encourage students to wear pink and we'll collect money and hopefully try and make some change.
Thank you for that. And that brings us to item 9, Business and Finance. 9A, a discussion of JPA renewal considerations. I ask that this item be placed on tonight's agenda to give the board the opportunity to discuss the value of the joint powers agreement and consequences of terminating it. The agreement between the school district and the city expired June 30 and is now in a second 60-day extension to accommodate negotiations for renewal. Meanwhile, there are indications that some decision makers on both sides are considering terminating the agreement. This is a matter of tremendous import to both the city and the district, and it requires public discourse. I have my thoughts, and I'm sure my fellow board members have theirs. So I'll open the discussion with this statement. The annual JPA revenue of $9.7 million amounts to 1/6 of the district's total revenue. Expenditures incurred by administering the JPA are primarily for utilities, insurance, replacement of supplies, repairs to property, and janitorial personnel for cleaning and closing the venues. I estimate that those expenditures may be less than $2 million annually, resulting in a net cash inflow of $7 to $8 million. Losing that revenue would throw the district into insolvency. It has been suggested that the district replace the JPA by renting district facilities to outside users. That would entail establishing all the functions of a for-profit business and much more. Imagine the safety, security, and control issues of having multiple renters occupying our school venues simultaneously. Every problem and risk we encounter currently in administering the JPA would be magnified many times over, and the net revenue stream, if any, would not come close to that of the JPA. Other districts may do this out of necessity, but we should not consider it as an alternative to the JPA. There's another important consideration aside from the net inflow of revenue for the district. During the past 40 years, the JPA has made it possible for the city to provide a comprehensive recreational program for Beverly Hills families. Those families are our constituents as well, and the district's contribution to their welfare through the JPA is recognized and highly valued throughout the community. And now it's open for discussion.
Just a inquiry more than anything else. I think it was mid-August, Dr. Breggy forwarded our JPA audit report and a letter that provided some historical and financial context to justify the increase in cost for the district to administer the JPA. It's been approximately 60 days now. When is the next liaisons meeting scheduled? Do we have that scheduled yet with the city?
No, that's not scheduled. They were looking at the Moss Adams report, and we've asked several times. In fact, we've not had a meeting since we gave them that report. So it's been quite some time.
Okay, I believe it's vital that we get back in the room and start communicating with the city. So I'll leave that to our board president and our superintendent to work that out.
Thank you. Mr. Marco?
Thank you, Mr. Spitz. A lot of this is could easily cross the line of the negotiations, and so I'll leave most of my comments out. But I will say here now in open that I am happy to have a JPA as long as we don't need a JPA.
I echo the sentiments that were shared by our board president. Coming on this board, before I was on this board, I recognized as a resident of the city the significant value of the JPA and what it actually means for not only this community, because there is real value in that, in having the JPA, but also for our district. And so, as Mr. Spitz said, it is a considerable part of our budget, and it's something that we rely on to get ahead and to be part of our. It's a part of our operating budget. So it's very real for me. I support the JPA. I hope I have hope that we will resolve this in the next few weeks. And as Mr. Goldstein said, that we will get a meeting going, because I think it is important, and at this point it's critical that we resolve the issues immediately so that we can continue the JPA. And I would not, at this point, really, I could not even support an alternative plan to a source of revenue that has not been evidenced, that we have not yet tapped into, as a way or as a means of supporting the JP, the amount, the budget, the number, the $9.7 million that currently the JPA supports in our budget. So for me, it's very real that we continue the JPA.
Mrs. Corbatot.
Thank you. I can only support a JPA if we're going to allocate more money to custodial and maintenance and operations. If we're not going to keep up these premises, keep them clean and safe, keep them maintenance properly, especially clean. If we're not going to have more custodians, more oversight of our custodians, more oversight about how we replace our, bathrooms and how we man them and how we fill them and keep them going, then I'm not interested, because quite frankly, I'm not blaming the JPA. There's just too much use. There's just too much traffic, too much human traffic, and we're not taking care of these premises. So I frankly just want to put it out there that I'm not interested in more human traffic. I'm not interested in more use without commensurate custodial and maintenance and operations, more people taking care of these places, as well as I can't understand why we'd have a bond and keep building new buildings if we're not going to take care of them. So that's what I want to say to the board. This is not only a money discussion, this is about having respect for our premises, respect for the taxpayer, respect for our assets. We wouldn't treat our homes like this. We wouldn't treat our investments like this. These schools are our investments. They are our children's home away from home. So once again, I ran 8 years ago on this, and once again, I'm walking schools and taking pictures, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further discussion? Thank you, board members. Item 11B, need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to the approval and proposal of professional consulting services and optional software license agreement for Davis Demographics.
Motion by Mr. Margot. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goldstein. Any discussion?
Yes. Did you have anything?
No, go ahead.
Yes. Ms. Ricardo, thank you for your response earlier to my question about this. It actually begged another question, and that question is, how do we know that this report will not suffer from the same fallacies as the previous report?
Well, I'm not going to say I hope that it doesn't. I think that they understand more about our community. I spoke to them. Not only do they do this, they only do K-12 demographic studies, only. They have dealt with communities similar to ours in New Jersey, where the private school, where you're really trying to get a handle on that private school student, where which is a large portion. Other cities, it's not that type of factor. It's a smaller percentage. I talked to them about our permit. That I don't think that the other demographic study really took into account the permit policy that we have, where we were phasing out the permits and things like that. We even talked about the changing demographic of the city of Beverly Hills, where the houses are much more expensive, where people are buying 2 lots and scraping it and put one big house on there, and they have matrices and mechanics in order to get a handle on what that means in terms of housing. So I don't know, the last time DeJean Richter was not from California. They were from out of state. I don't know how many school clients they actually had, but I know that Davis, this company is the #1 company that does this for schools, definitely in the state of California. I looked at 2 others, and they didn't get good references from the people that I know. I don't want to talk about the company, but the people that I know.
Who actually use them?
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I got nothing but great references on Davis.
So the skill set that they're coming in to do this report is very different from DeJean Richter.
Yes.
A lot more in tune with the community, not just 5 buildings and the people who inhabit them. The
partner that's going to be doing our principal is based in downtown LA. He only deals with LA County. He's very familiar with us, with Beverly Hills. He's familiar with our basic aid status and what that means to our district. Even I think I had spoke to you about how even though it's not Koreatown, Beverly Hills, but how the southern part has changed in terms of our demographic from when I started here in 2009. They know all about that, so I do feel that they're much more skilled.
And what is the lead time on this report?
They know we're trying to turn it around really quickly. After this, if this is approved, we'll be starting our engagement this week, because we want this not only to be one of the data sets that the Future Focus school teams has at their disposal. Mr. Blake, Don Blake, our facilities consultant, is looking for the same data, as well as we map staffing, but also our multi-year projections. I mean, this data is going to be used by so many people in our district as we look towards the future.
Thank you, sir.
I had asked the same question. I did not get a response, but Mr. Margot kind of asked, showed me a little bit prior to the meeting starting. So let me ask, when was that last report done that Mr. Margot made reference to?
Years and years. It was in, and I apologize, Mrs. Hacker, I didn't see the, but I apologize. But DeJean Richter did that master plan study. They started it in 2011.
Yeah.
And it was completed in 2012.
Yeah.
But mainly the data that was when Mr. Kayabia was here. So he came in 2010. And so I know that it was like the 2011 year that they started.
The bulk of the work was done in 11,
Yes.
I believe, because I remember Mr. Manister.
It was done.
He was board president. He was board president when we hired the guy. He was from Ohio.
So I saw the proposal, I read the proposal, and my question is very simple. I saw the proposal, is that the work that you're looking to get back from them specifically?
Yes, we have the work that's in the work that's detailed, the scope and sequence that's outlined in the proposal. What we have not asked for is the story mapping.
I saw that's $6,000.
It was $6,800. I didn't. It was a little expensive to me for what you kind of got. I sent it to Superintendent Breggy and Ms. Skirty, and we'll look at it as we go further. It seems like it was something we probably could have done, so that's why I didn't include that in the contract. But the rest, and including the software that they let you play with, but that really doesn't. I don't think that is for schools that are more ADA based. We really just want to know what students could be ours, what students are in private school, what is the likelihood that they would come back after construction?
And why they're in private schools?
Those types of things.
And I also think one thing that's changed since 2011 is the technical piece is, really being able to hone in on, where the kids are in our school district, are there patterns? That's really changed since 2011 is this technical piece that we can actually, use ourselves. Before, a lot of it was just given to us. This is much more interactive now than it ever has been.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No comment.
I think this is, I'm glad to see this happen. I think it's really an important area, important data that we don't have and that we need to have. So I'm really happy to see this go forward. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we are at Planning and Facilities. Item 12A, we need a ratification of an agreement.
My mic's dead, so I'll just speak loudly. I'll move to approve an agreement issued under Board Resolution number 2015-2016-041 for the installation of a temporary security fence along Moreno Drive on the front lawn at Beverly Hills High School with Southern California Industries.
I'll second that.
Are all our mics dead right now?
Oh, I didn't turn mine on, Howard. Mine is okay. I'll second that.
Moved by Mr. Goldstein, second by Mrs. Korbatov. Is there discussion?
I just had a quick question. So I understand that this resolution is for a temporary fence. At the same time, there has been discussion for a permanent fence down the line once construction has moved along a little bit more. Is there an amount of time that we anticipate for the temporary fence to be up before we erect the permanent fence, assuming that that does pass?
That's a great question.
The answer to that is it's more tied in to the time that the completion of the site work is finished. And at this point, that is a few years off, and I think it's above my crystal ball to tell you when that's going to be finished at this point. But it's definitely a few years.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Questions?
Most people who pay attention know I have not been an advocate of the fence. I've heard arguments in favor and against it. Where I've landed recently is it's not an enormous amount of money. It's not about the money, although it's always about the money because we're talking about taxpayer money. But for me right now, with the way things are going, with our wonderful lucky streaks in construction, I'm even more pressed than ever not to support this. I don't know, as we're looking at starting B1 and B2, what contractors will need from that front lawn, if anything. We can't say that we know because we don't have contracting proposals. We don't have bids yet, so we don't know if they may ask, hey, you know what, we're going to need some of this front lawn, take the fence down. I'd like to say stranger things have happened, and they have. So it just gives me pause to do anything like this at the moment until we kind of see what comes out of the proposals for B1 and B2, what happens with the fields, what happens with even with the oil well. I mean, there's so many unknowns floating up in the air right now that it's hard pressed for me to support this. And I understand some of the arguments for it, and I'm not blind to those arguments. And I do know that it's right now being used in lieu of our field for a lot of the students, and I think it will continue to be so even when the field goes back online. I think that will be a place that students do need to use. That being said, whatever my colleagues decide is acceptable. I'm not going to kick up any dust, and we have a lot of that around here. But I think I appreciate the intent behind it, but I can't support it this time.
Is it possible for you to go over the reasons this came about? I know that the site council met, the principal recommended it at some point.
Yes.
Okay, and
so this was a request to Construction and Facilities Department to get the quote put together for this and the numbers. And the intention was, quite frankly, to put a fence on the remaining part of the front lawn. It basically runs from the current construction fence along the sidewalk to the corner of the tennis courts. And it's a temporary fence. It has two gates, one on each on the north end, one on the south end, and it allows the site to be locked up to keep public off of it on off hours, but also provide a space for that's because it's currently being used as a temporary athletic field, even by lacrosse, soccer, and band was out there practicing the other day. Some of that is a little bit because of the main field's offline, but of course that's online again on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But they'll continue to use it just for practice space. And it allows them to close the gates for practice space and not have the balls going in the streets or anybody running into the streets and not paying attention.
So I guess my question is this. The field, I would assume, has been used for various purposes in the past, prior to even construction, has it not? For pep rallies, or the front lawn, I should say.
That's correct. As a matter of fact,
it has always been used for several purposes, I would assume. I'm not here all the time.
Yeah. Previously, what we did prior to the construction is we would hold pep rallies and various events in the upper part of the front lawn, not down near the sidewalk. Due to the construction, we've been forced to hold the pep rallies up front in the area which the temporary fence is going to block off. I think that with the football field, we should be able to find some alternative and still allow sports teams to make better use of that space.
Yeah. Did Don Blake put this on, this item?
No, this was before Don Blake.
Is Don aware of this? Yes. Is he approving this? Does he opined on this?
Yes, he has. It's in our numbers of funds that we've allocated to spend this year.
Okay, so is he okay with this? I'm trying to gauge his...
Yes, he is.
So he approves this, he okayed this?
He understands that with the limited amount of sports fields we have, lacrosse can't practice where they used to because we have cottages on it. To keep the balls out of the street and keep our kids safe, to provide our ASB if they want to do a luncheon or some rally or something, they can do it in a safe area where they're not open to the general public. We can use it for soccer. We do use it for lacrosse now. We do use it for band now, and to keep it in a safe, clean area.
So this
for our
will keep the dogs off from defecating and urinating as well?
This will keep the dogs off.
Which, you know, we love dogs. I own 3, but kids should have an expectation that they can walk and sit without being exposed to that.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I'm going to be supporting this because I want to support the facilities department that I believe probably loaded up this planning and facilities section on my agenda.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm not a great fan of chain link fences in general. However, as far as appearance is concerned, they look perfectly appropriate around our K-8 schools. I think that the big difference here is the long-standing, wonderful, open appearance of our high school. It's goes back to the beginning, and it is a wonderful view. However, considering the times that we live in, security becomes the main issue. And so for that reason, I definitely support this. Further discussion?
Yeah, now that I have my mic working, one, we've had a full, robust discussion on this a number of weeks ago, so it was one of the reasons I didn't comment. What's that? A few times, very true. And it has somebody that actually resides in the area and has an opportunity to come by the high school. Many a times I do walk my dog, not on the front lawn, of course, never. I have personally witnessed a number of times where balls have gone into the streets, and they're not, even though they're a little bit older and they're teenagers, they do run into the streets without looking, and it's an incredibly dangerous situation. And from a security standpoint, from dog excrement, and for all the reasons that we already have a security fence for construction on one side, our buildings are in the process of construction. There's not much to look at anyway, so if we can increase the security for our students, I'm all for it.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm just going to add that I agree with what you guys are saying, but my concern is still going to be come December or so when the contractors come in for B1 and B2 and say, you know what, guys, we need to move this or we need to take it down. I would just prefer to wait until we drop a hammer in that building and everybody knows where everything is going to sit and rest and all that, and where the trucks are going to go and everything is worked out before we put the fence up. So, you know, that's my thought at this time.
Okay. I will call for the
question. Well, that's a good point. Let's just have that answered if we can.
So the current laydown area that we have, which is the north lower portion and all the upper portion, is adequate for B1 and B2. It's also adequate for B3. It has not been in our plan related to B1, 2, 3, or 4 that the construction department would need any of that front lawn. The plan was to leave it available for the high school athletics.
Okay, I understand that, but what we plan in our construction offices and what happens when things start getting built are never the same thing. If they were, we would be in a much better situation with everything. So, as would most construction projects. So it just, in my experience, it just gives me a pause to concern and wait and see, and them saying, the contractor saying, no, we are going to stay off this area, we can work with this, because we don't have a contractor yet, so they haven't said it. So until I hear somebody say that, I'm more inclined to say, wait, let's hear it out and see if everything's going to be okay, and then we'll go ahead and put the fence up if that's needed.
When do you foresee the fence coming in?
Well, the fence would have been up already, but the ASB has asked us to wait till after homecoming to go ahead and put the fence up. And because of their request of everything that they have going on, we've agreed to wait till after homecoming to put the fence up.
Okay.
Just a curiosity based on Mr. Margot's question. If, in fact, there's a concern that the contractors may need it, wouldn't they have to have a construction fence for their equipment and material? So we would need some kind of fence there anyways.
It would be the same fence. If they need a construction fence to house all their stuff, it would be the same fence we're putting up.
Yeah, we just don't know where. We don't know. We don't know where.
We may have to make an
only
opening.
two places.
There's only two places.
Okay.
Right.
I just see it from a different contractor point of view than everybody, and I appreciate it. And I'd rather err on the side of caution, but that's all right.
Okay. Any further discussion? May we call for the vote? Okay.
Call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. The motion passes 4-1. And that brings us to item 12B. We need a motion for ratification of an agreement.
I'll make a motion to ratify the agreement under Board Resolution 2015-2016-039 for installation of water stop at elevator entrance and repair replacement of 2 deck drains at Horseman School Building B with Pro West constructors. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Margot. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mrs. Korbatov. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just add, when is the work expected to be done on this?
This work was completed over the 4-day school holiday we had.
This part is already done.
It's
Okay.
done.
Great.
Yeah, it's a ratification.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And item 12C, we need a motion to ratify a change order.
I'll move to ratify a change order to an agreement issued under Board Resolution number 2015-2016-040 for security system HID card upgrade at Horseman School Building B with G4S Secure Integration LLC.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Goldstein, second by Mr. Margot. Any discussion?
Are we, did you? Go ahead. Is this a program we're going to pilot that will continue with the other schools as we?
Yes, what this change order did, it was for the purchase of a $625 software license that allows maintenance and operations to access the access control system remotely from their offices here at the high school at Horseman, so they don't have to run out there. Also allows them to go in and change. If somebody loses their card, they can go online and delete that card right away and not have to even go out to Horseman.
Initially.
Yes. But
Those are the cards you swipe?
yeah, this is a change of the HID card, so
Right.
it'll look like your badge, but it'll actually give you access. We're getting rid of the little fobs.
The fob with, the fob story.
Is there a way to implement this at the other schools?
Absolutely. This is kind of
Immediately or until?
No.
It's not.
It's low voltage infrastructure, so it has to be built in because every door basically gets a card reader, a head-end system, and of course it's all hardwired.
I see.
But
Thank you.
eventually, this is, for example, B1, B2, El Rodeo all have the system planned into it, so it's a de facto standard.
It provides us with really good data about who's entering our buildings and when.
Any further discussion?
It's great stuff.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And
We're done.
that brings us to communication from board members.
Just very quickly, I'd just like to encourage everyone, if they can, to come out to the homecoming event next Friday, October 20th, because it really is a community event, and we want not just high schoolers and their families to attend, but we want middle schoolers and elementary schoolers to see what's coming up in the future and to feel as if we're all just part of one community.
I'm sure Hallmark will have a card for this because I don't know how you would go about. Do you say, for those that celebrate, do you wish them a happy Indigenous Populations Day? Very interesting. No longer Columbus Day in our day. But I would like to wish everyone that does celebrate a happy and healthy and joyous Sukkot. Hope the new year brings everybody health and happiness. And I did have a little note here to myself, and I will read it. In your closing comments tonight, don't forget to wish Luke a happy birthday today and LaTanya tomorrow.
Nice.
So happy birthday to both of you.
His computer speaks to him. So in my morning off last week, I was reading the newspaper, which I do once in a while, and I read the article about Senate Bill number 557, which just passed in Sacramento, regarding school lunch food and how it can be appropriated for either shelters, organizations, nonprofit organizations, and even other students who don't have enough food to eat at the sites. So what I was going to ask, and I had I think I brought this up with Dr. Breggy, but I wanted to ask, and I'm going to read the section which I think particularly pertains to us of the bill, and it's, let's see, section 2B2. Donations of food or food made available to pupils during the course of a regular school meal time may include prepackaged, non-potentially hazardous food with the packaging still intact and in good condition, whole uncut produce that complies with section 113992 before donation, unopened bags of sliced fruit, unopened containers of milk, and perishable prepackaged food if it is placed in a proper temperature-controlled environment. So what I'm going to ask is, what is our status, if I can request, about what we do with this leftover food, because the goal is not to waste it anymore and to put it to good use somewhere. I like the idea in here of what I heard about a sharing table for kids that don't have enough food or don't bring food, and so food doesn't go to waste, and now there's options for them to have food kind of passed on, which we in the past were not allowed to do, correct? Right. Okay. So I would just like to request what we can do, what we're doing, and what we can do.
Would you like me to come back to you on this?
I don't expect you to have the answer right now.
I have some of the answers, but I would prefer to come back.
If it's okay with my colleagues, if we can bring that back sooner rather than later, and we can decide, because I'm sure you're going to need to talk to Heather as well, to decide what we can do as a district with the leftover food, if we want to adopt a charity, if that's part of it, anything. I know that there are, students need community service points all over the district. All of these things can be intertwined, and hopefully everything can help something else and be symbiotic. So, thank you. And happy birthday, you guys.
I just wanted to say thank you to Casey Rowley and Michelle Redston for putting a fantastic college night last week. It was a lot of work, and to everyone else who was behind the scenes and made that event successful and happen for our students. I know that it was a lot of work, and it was just well attended, and I think it was just a great event for our students, and so we should be very proud and celebrate those big milestones for our school. So thank you to them, and happy birthday to everyone.
I want to wish everyone to my left a happy birthday who knew there were all these October babies. Just sending our thoughts to all of our friends in Vegas. Been a lot of sad times in this country lately between Mother Nature and human nature. But there's a lot of things to celebrate, seeing people all over the country helping each other. So we have much to be grateful for here in Beverly Hills and in Los Angeles. And I just wanted to say happy birthday again. And Dr. Breggy, we'll find out what we did with surplus food. Can we find out what we're doing with surplus property?
Yes.
Sure, that's on our long list of things to do.
Thank you.
I'll just use a moment here to compliment my colleagues on the board. What I have seen in recent weeks, months, is high-level discussions and deliberations among us that makes me very confident that while we face daunting challenges, I'm very confident that we'll keep the dishes twirling, as the superintendent put it, because there's so many issues, and that's about what we're doing. And I'm very confident that that we will overcome every challenge, and so I thank you, board members.
Thank you.
And with that, the meeting is adjourned.